How's it going, everybody? This is Edwin, the Magic Engineer, and I just wanted to go through for you guys my EDH deck. And notice I did not call this a commander deck. I do refer to this as EDH, and it's not EDH like many people play it. It's traditional EDH, meaning this deck actually has vintage restricted cards in it. And this deck is kind of funny because it's probably worth about $25,000, somewhere around there, but it's not designed to win. It's designed for fun. And so it seems like a really weird and awkward thing to actually have a deck that's worth that much money, but it's not like, you're not going to try to beat people to death just with your wallet. But let me show you guys what it's all about. And many of you that are actually EDH players will understand why somebody would build a deck like this, because you understand kind of where the format EDH actually came from. And I've done other videos about EDH. In fact, I'll link one right now where I'm actually talking about EDH versus Commander and kind of like how it changed over. But I've never actually done a video where I actually showed like my whole deck, so I figured you guys might want to see it. So I do, before I go into this deck also, I have actually played this deck in an awful lot of games with friends. And the deck only has, as I recall, like one counter spell in it. It's not like a shut other people down kind of deck. It doesn't really have an awful lot of answers. The deck is made to be powerful, but it's made to kind of be reactive so it can kind of play with people, right? I want the games to be fun and interactive. And in fact, if I play this deck against people and I'm dominating the game, then what I'll do is I'll rotate out cards that are like too good and they're helping me like way too much. And I'll bring the power level of the deck down so it's beatable. And my main win condition in this deck also can be basically blown off the table with like a shatter or a disenchant or something like that. So I made it to be fragile intentionally. So it was a beatable deck, but I also wanted it to be fun and powerful. So anyways, let's get into it. So you can see Chromat is actually, he is my general, or my commander, or my dragon, whatever you want to call it. And Chromat is in there because I wanted a 5-color deck. And honestly, like, sometimes I even forget to cast him because I get so focused on what I'm doing in the rest of the deck. I mostly just wanted 5 colors, but I wanted a commander that's going to come out and stay there and be, you know, have some staying power. So he was the commander. So I have a lot of fun to play trinkets. And so maybe I'll just like lay all the trinkets out. So you can see that there is a beta Glasses of Urza. I love this card. It's just so much fun. It's one to put on the table, and I'm always checking out everyone's hand to see what's actually going on. And the Library of Lang is also fun because many people in EDH cause you to just draw a ton of cards, but you always have to discard. Well, if you put the library out, you know, all that card draw you get doesn't just get tossed or thrown away or something like that. And it also combos with other stuff in this deck. So, Aetherflux Reservoir, this is actually my main kill condition in the deck. This is when I win, it's usually through this card. Although, when you see the rest of the deck, you would think it's another one. And Skull Clamp is just amazing. I put it on a creature, so people, of course, you know, when people see the cards in my deck, they often attack me. Just because they see the cards. And if I have a Skull Clamp on a creature, I can usually have some way of trying to recover as they're beating me down and ganging up against me. These two cards are also part of the combo that I use to win. The last one is the Basalt Monolith. So I basically use Basalt and Rings together to get an infinite mana. Then if you get a staff, you can just draw all the way down your deck, gain infinite life, you know, tap, run, tap, anything you want. But with the infinite life, you can just blow someone off the table with the Aetherflux Reservoir. So that's my main combo. So if you have like one shatter, you're going to blow these right off the table and my combo is shut down and I'm going to have to regrowth it back out or twist or something like that to get it back. So Platinum Angel is mostly just there to keep me in the game so I can survive long enough before my opponents take me out. So let's now go through the green cards. And you'll see a lot of the cards like this, like the Essence Warden. I love having things in play that don't necessarily hurt other people, but it's something that just kind of like helps me constantly. I used to play Crucible of Worlds, but I like this because it's a creature at the same time, and I actually kind of prefer it because he's a bit more fragile. A bolt can blow him off the table, right? And I know it sounds weird, but I actually kind of like that. I want to have things that are fun and powerful, but they allow my opponents to be able to react to it. And he fits that really well. And Eladmaries, however you say it, the Vineyard, this is in there just because it's fun. I love dropping this on the table and watching people freak out. And yeah, that's often pretty cool. Now, the Marauder, he could have been really good, but it's funny, like, I almost never get to get life from him. Because, like, I get him in play and people blow him off the table, like, immediately. He doesn't ever... I'm not sure, in the last, like, 5 games I've played, if I've actually gained any life with him. But yeah, there's my green cards. Lots of life gain. Lots of creatures that are fun and efficient and do cool things. Let's grab the red. So, this is one of my favorite cards in the whole deck. This Mana Flare. And by the way, the value of this one has gone up a ton, especially with the Christopher Rush signature. But I love putting this card on the table because this is fun for everyone. When the Mana Flare hits the table, people's decks just go crazy. They just start blowing up and doing amazing things. And that's just cool to watch. Fireball, most of the time, doesn't end up being a kill shot. Usually it's blowing a creature off the board or taking someone's life down to a point where they're kind of within range of something else. The Goblin Welder I usually have on the table just to get back one of my key win pieces or to just have some disruption for the opponent. And the Crimson Hellkite, he's just fun because when he hits the table, when you've got lots of ability to gain mana, especially through something like this, he can be pretty amazing for blowing stuff up. And also you can combo him with the rings, you know, to get lots of extra activations as well. So yeah, those are fun, the red cards. So there's, of course, a lot of blue. You guys, I'm sure, could guess. I'm a blue mage, so I'm going to have to lay them out. A lot of them. Maybe go through them a chunk at a time. Maybe I'll go through those in a sec. So, of course, you know, like I said, this is a traditional EDH deck. So that's why I actually have Power Blue inside of it. And the second chance is in here because it's just a lot of fun. This is a great card. I love being able to play this card. I love it even more when it actually goes off. But in EDH, it's dangerous to get your life that low. I mean, you get that low and someone usually blows you up. Juicy Apprentice is crazy. People that play against me in this deck, they learn to actually be more threatened by this than these cards, which is funny. Because when you got like that Library of Laying Out and you're drawing lots of cards, I mean, Juicy flips around and then Tomoya just starts tapping and drawing just tons of cards. It's not too uncommon for me to draw 20, 30 cards off of this every activation. Or maybe draw 20 cards and then duplicate it, right, with the rings, which is just amazing, right? For the other blue cards, let's see, there we go, lay all those out. Looks like did I actually take my counterspell out? Oh, I might have. Yeah, so it looks like that. I don't even have a counterspell actually in the deck right now. So, Merkle's Recall is amazing. I love using this for offense or defense. If somebody casts like a Time Twister or a Wheel of Fortune, sometimes I'll Hercules an opponent and just put all their artifacts up into their hand and then it all just gets discarded. Or if somebody's going to blow a disc or something and blow everything up, I'll pull all my artifacts back to my hand to protect them. And the Thought Reflection's been a lot of fun. You know, just getting to draw lots of cards, of course, is very fun. And Tradewind is great for being able to respond to what people do. And Trinket Mage, most of the time, he goes and gets Skull Clamp. And then Dig Through Time as well. Sorry, guys, there's a lot of pollen in the air out here in Houston. And it's just making me cough like crazy. And now for the white. Of course, I had to have good white removal. I mean, you got to have at least some, right? So I've got a Disenchant in there. I've got a Wrath for clearing up the board pretty well. Felidar is, of course, one of my win conditions. But, you know, he doesn't win the game very often because people can normally deal with him quite a bit. But I like to actually put him onto the table just to kind of like force people to actually have to react to him. Or, you know, possibly to win the game. And you'll also notice, you saw the Essence Warden that I had. And then I've got these guys as well. So there's an awful lot of games where I'm drawing or getting an awful lot of life off of creatures being cast onto the table. Now this actually, this really deserves to be spoken about. This, you guys, is one of the best plays in Commander or EDH. If somebody plays a creature and I kill their creature, they're a little bit irritated at me, or if I take it or something like that, right? And also, a lot of the creature kills can cost a lot of mana. Well, look at Spirit Link. And think about it for a second. If somebody puts out a really big creature, right, and they're threatening everyone on the table, and then I Spirit Link it, right, I didn't take their creature. They still have it. So they're not really as mad at me. And now there's no reason to attack me, because I'm just going to get the life for it. So it's effectively, it doesn't do anything to attack me. So when I Spirit Link their creature, they don't lose their creature, but now as they use that creature, I actually get the life from it, which can sometimes be fantastic. Now sometimes I'll Spirit Link a creature and people will just stop using it, which was very effective because it was a 1 white and it shut down the creature. On some other times, I'll Spirit Link their creature and then they actually will use it and I'll just gain a ton of life off of it. So I think that's an amazing play. And I like the Interceptor because he has the ability to, you know, flash right out there and block a couple creatures that people weren't actually expecting. And he kind of reminds me of the two-headed giant quite a bit, you know, the original one. I mean, I know you got that in the picture, but he's so much kind of built off of it, but he's got flash on it, which is really cool. I definitely like that. And of course, Dismantling Blow. Let me deal with someone else's threat and then maybe draw some cards off of it. And oftentimes mana just isn't really an issue, right? So now, okay, we don't have a lot of blacks in the deck, but I'll go through the blacks. I needed to have more creature removals than just a Wrath, so I put a Damnation in there as well. And Vampiric Link does the same trick as Spirit Link. And Animate Dead is amazing because whoever's got a huge fatty creature in the graveyard, I get to do something about it. And the Demonic Tutor is no explanation needed, right? I mean, in a 100-card deck, you need some tutoring ability, right? And what's better than a Demonic Tutor? So there's the black. Now we're going to get into all the gold cards. And there. Okay. Looks like I need to go through them a few at a time because I've just got a lot. Now, I love the Lord of Tresor Horn. This is one of those cards that, excuse me, even if it's not the best card, I really like this card because Alliances was the first set, like, I was really buying a lot of expansion cards out of. I mean, I got in when Ice Age was finishing right before Alliances. But when I started Magic in 1996, Alliances was the next big set that came out, and I bought a lot of Alliances. So I got a few Lords, and I put him in a lot of decks, and there's just a lot of nostalgia there, right? And the Ranger, I just wanted a good regenerator that protects me and maybe puts up some form of defense because people are always trying to beat me down. And here's the Sacrificial Lamb creature. I can make little Saprolings to die instead of me dying. And the Bloodwater Entity is kind of like a Snapcaster, I guess. So I use it kind of like that. But I like, you know, I'm willing to get the extra colors to do it, and I like how he's actually got flying, so I can couple him up with some other, you know, pumpers and stuff to do something nice. Psychotog is just amazing because he can end the game very quickly. He's a huge threat, and to be honest, most of the time I'm not activating Psychotog and making him huge, but just the fact that I've got him on the table usually pushes people back a little bit. And actually, no, I'm going to talk about that one with the rest of them. So now let's go over a bunch of multicolored card drawers. I actually had a post about this guy on my Instagram account. He's a pretty new creature, and I think he's just fantastic. I mean, only 2 mana for a 1/3 flyer right off the bat is not bad. But that ability, which can be used multiple times and at instant speed, gaining life and drawing a card, and then you can even couple it with like nice things like the rings and go get even more of them, or draw cards off the, you know, of course you can do this with either of these two guys as well. But I think this is just a fantastic card. So I don't know if you can tell, but I actually got the foil version as well. I got a few of them because I even think this one could even go up in value, and I love it in my EDH decks. And this guy is just a great blocker and a card drawer. And the Dimir Guildmage, I almost never make people discard. I'm almost always drawing with him, right? As you can tell, I like to have a lot of draw. And then the Sphinx's Revelation. Sure, it's a bit more mana to start than like a Brain Geyser, but gaining life and drawing cards is pretty darn good, especially when you got stuff like Mana Flayers on the table and lots of ability to get tons of mana. And then I wanted to have some removal ability, and I leaned heavily into gold for that. So here's Enchantment, artifact or enchantment destruction, right? With those guys. And then these guys are just kind of nice, well-rounded, hit any permanent kind of thing. Well, I guess this is creature. But these two, I'd like to be able to deal with any permanent that's on the table. So these ones, I usually hold them kind of like gold, which is funny because they are actually gold, right? Yeah, great cards. I love holding on to those. So that's the spells of my deck. That's the majority. And as you can see, some of you watching this might be like, well, Edwin, where's the synergy to the deck? Where's, you know, all the crazy combos? Because you guys, you've seen other decks I've made. You might imagine this would be a well-oiled killing machine, but that's not the point. The point is to have cards that are fun, but they're also a little bit powerful. But I don't want the deck to be too dominant because I want my opponents to enjoy the game just as much as I do. So I'd rather come out, do something strong, and then maybe go down on a ball of flames or something like that. That's kind of my goal with this deck. So now, okay, let's talk about the mana. So this is my very beat-to-heck Library of Alexandria. I love this card. As you can tell, it's very played, but I love it. Mark Poole actually told me this was a 1994 signature, and I was going to have him re-sign over the top, but then he was saying, you know, you might not want to do that because that's actually a very old signature. So I love the library. Then, of course, there's the fast artifact mana, and so all the Moxen are, of course, in the deck, and the Soul Ring and the Lotus. And yeah, this is usually when people see one of these is where other people who don't know me or would complain, oh, well, that's not a legal deck. Or I've posted this deck on Instagram and other places, and people always complain because, like, you know, what a cheater, what an illegal deck. And again, it's traditional EDH. Yes, these cards are in here, but that's also why I play cards like this, because I just want to have things that are fun. I want to play with my cards. I don't want to not play with them, which is one of the reasons I like, you know, traditional EDH. So yeah, I want some fast mana to actually be in there, right? And the Basalt Monolith, this was the card that actually combos with these guys. And most of the time, if I get just these two, I've now got infinite mana. And I'm usually going to win when those two come out because I can find a way to get down to that. But if I have these three, the game's over. I mean, I can get this one if I need it because I can draw my whole deck. So those are the four that combo out usually to give me a game win. But the Basalt is huge, and I just love this beta one. Okay, gotta have the ability to kill lands, right? Gotta be able to deal with them. So if I've got that plus a Ruminap, then I can actually definitely go abuse that. And then, of course, I need a full set of dual lands. So there's my dual lands. And there's, of course, one of each. But there's a very special one here. This one. Alec, thank you for this card. So I mentioned this in the Story Time with Edwin video, and I'll link that up above right now. Yeah, this card has a special history about how it actually came to me. So that I definitely, you know, God bless you, Alec. Every time, you know, that card comes up, I think it's very cool. But yeah, so I got the full set of dual lands, so I can go get any color I need. And then, of course, if you're going to have dual lands and graveyard recursion, you got to have some fetches, right? Especially if you're playing Rings of Brighthearth, you got to have some fetches to go get mana. And like these guys, man, these combo together so amazingly. I mean, your mana piles up so fast when you got fetches and a Rings of Brighthearth. Then I want a lot of lands that produce any color mana. So I've got these guys. And I love the old 4 and black border city. And Glimmer Void, of course, because I've got tons of artifacts in the deck. And of course, Command Tower. This is the best multicolor land in the whole set, of course, right? Because it's just any color, no drawbacks. So it's funny. It's like one of the cheapest ones in there, but it's better than everything else that's actually there. So yeah, I kind of laugh at that a little bit. This one is really cool because, okay, this Tolarian Academy, this is the professor from Tolarian Community College. I actually got him to sign my Tolarian Academy at GP Vegas last year. And I posted a picture of it also on Instagram if you guys want to check out my account. The link's below to actually go see that. So I love the Tolarian Academy. And Inventor's Fair, often for me, is almost as good as my Demonic Tutor, because since I have that win condition with the combo cards, Inventor's Fair oftentimes will go get the missing combo piece that I'm still needing. and Thawing Glaciers will go get the basic lands that I actually need, which allows me to kind of effectively have some card advantage, right? And then the last thing is the basic lands. And I have the least amount of black, as you can see. There was only like 4 black in the deck and 4 red that are main deck. But then, of course, there's other that's mixed into the gold and stuff as well. But not a lot of black and red, so I didn't need a lot of black and red lands. But I did have a decent amount of white, green, and blue. So those are the ones that have the majority of the actual basics. And it's got to be enough so I can actually go activate the Thawing Glaciers, or if somebody has something that says go get a basic land and put it into play, I needed to actually have some in the deck. So that's it. That's my EDH deck. And yeah, the approximate value of this deck is probably about 25 grand. And so, but it's built for fun. It's built to just enjoy the game, and that is the purpose of what traditional EDH was all about. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Come back and check out the other videos, and have a great day. Bye, everybody.